Hello, welcome to County Board Wrap-Up. I'm Diana Sun, Director of Communications. With me here today, alas, for the last time, is Chair Mary Hynes, who is not only stepping down as chair of the board, but will also be retiring from the county board this month after 8 years of service. Welcome, Mary, and thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Diana. This has been a lot of fun this year.
Well, we've got a lot to get going on, so let's get started. As we have each month, we're going to take a half hour to talk about some of the actions that the county board took at the December meeting and what those actions mean for you, your family, and our community. This month, we'll be discussing a new agreement with Virginia Hospital, an exciting new affordable housing development, more parks news, the new South Arlington Elementary School, and our local history. So let's start with the Virginia Hospital Center. The board approved an option to purchase agreement. And what does that mean?
So a lot of people in the community may know that the county owns about 5.5 acres directly north of the hospital. There's a couple of low-rise buildings in there, and we've been gradually moving our services out and putting them at the Stambaugh Center at Washington Boulevard and Arlington Boulevard. So it's pretty much empty now except for a child care center. The hospital is in desperate need of room to expand. Something like 25% of the days in the last year, they didn't have enough beds. So it's a real and significant issue.
As Arlington expands? Or
That's
grows,
right.
The hospital also?
And you know, we have the top-rated hospital in the region here. So we want to make sure that we continue to have that great medical service for our residents. And the hospital came to us in April and said, would you consider selling us that land? And they own a bunch of land. They own 2 corners of Lee Highway and George Mason, the 2 western corners. And they own the old hospital site right on Carlin Spring Road, kind of next to the Nature Center, actually. That's about 11 or 12 acres that they own down there. So we've entered into this option agreement, which will give the county board, if a number of other things happen, gives the hospital the right to the land and the county board the right to look at the land the hospital has and say whether we want some of that and or to get cash for that 5.5 acres that we control at the moment.
So it sounds like we've agreed to move forward. It sounds like we're kind of at the beginning stages.
So this is an option agreement, and it has some legal standing, and it basically lays out the what ifs. And if certain things happen, then we move to the next stage, and we move to the next stage. The hospital's been a great partner in negotiating this, and I think we're all excited because it lets them move forward, but it also gives us, at a time when we, after our community facility study, know we need land and know we have things we need to do on pieces of land, it gives us the opportunity to think about where are the right places with the hospital's land in mind.
And what kind of time frame are we talking about?
That's a great question. So there's another step the hospital has to do that's outside of Arlington's control, and that is they go to the State Board of Health to get what's called a Certificate of Public Need, which basically says how many beds they can add and what kinds of services they might add to the hospital. So they have a period of time to do that. So this agreement runs, the earliest they can exercise the option basically is 30 months, so about the midway through 2018, and the longest they could have is 4 years, which takes us to the end of 2019. So someplace in there, a lot of these pieces will start to fall in place.
And how will the county work to make sure that we're getting a good deal?
That's a great question. So we agreed in the option agreement that a price will be agreed upon when the hospital exercises the option, but we've set a floor that it can't go below, and it's $12.5 million for those 5 acres. It could be considerably more depending on what the hospital comes in and wants the rezoning and all of that to be. We'll just have to see. As to the land, the manager asked us to direct him to start a community process to look at how we might use, in particular, the 12 acres in South Arlington if it were to come to us, because we have to elect those pieces of land rather than money. And so the community should expect probably mid-year next year that some kind of process will be initiated to look at that, and we'll use probably the community facility work to inform how that process goes.
So obviously more to come on that.
Much more to come, but a very, very important first step.
Yes.
Yep.
So there was an affordable housing project that you all took up at this meeting, and it's the Presbyterian Church on Columbia Pike.
Right.
And what is happening there?
Well, this is an interesting story. This is a community, as many of our older ones have, that's the congregation has shrunk. And they went through a discernment process, and they decided they wanted to be a more active presence in the community, and they wanted to show their commitment through affordable housing. And their initial idea was there'd be a church on the bottom and housing above, kind of like the church in Clarendon.
Which has been
quite successful. Yes. They went through their hierarchy, and in the end, their hierarchy said, no, sell the land. And then maybe you can come back in some other manner through a condominium association arrangement in the building. So they did. They have an agreement to sell the land to the Arlington Partnership for Affordable Housing, who came in with a proposal for 173 affordable units located on that corner of Monroe and Columbia Pike.
And I understand these units will be committed affordable?
That's right, for 60 years. So the county participates in these deals, as you know, by making a financial investment that comes back because it's a loan. So we're investing about $18 million in this deal, and about half of that is actually going to the land purchase, which the church has discounted 20% from the assessed value in order to show their show their commitment to this effort as well. So we're spending overall, including land and building, the county's investment's about $100,000 a unit, but again, about 50% of that is the actual land. Goes to show you how expensive land really is in our community.
And talk to us just a little bit about why the county is willing to make such an investment in affordable housing.
Well, you know, our study shows that really sustainable communities worry about all the whole range of affordability for your housing, because in a sustainable community you have jobs that deliver salaries at all these ranges. And so if we want our service-oriented small businesses to have access to folks who want to work in those businesses, if we want to make sure that elderly people have a place to retire, and this, by the way, this project has a lot of small units meant for older people, and they're planning to do more services for older people. So it's less families here than might be in some of the other places APA works. So we've really decided that if we make these strategic investments, lock in some affordability for 60 years, we actually improve our community sustainability.
Thank you so much. Okay, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about other actions that the county board took to improve our parks.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
Welcome back. We're discussing the action at the county board's December meeting, and we have some interesting topics to get to. Mary, another area that people are always interested in is our parks. Right. And at this meeting, the county board took actions on 2 parks. Right. Tell us about what happened with Tuckahoe Park.
So Tuckahoe Park, the board just approved the contract to basically redo the fields, improve ADA accessibility, and some of the ancillary services. Those fields are so heavily used. It's a great partnership, by the way, with Bishop O'Connell, who it's their home baseball field, and so they're paying for the scoreboard.
So that is a wonderful partnership, and that joint use and making it more accessible.
Exactly.
How great is that?
That's great, and the scoreboard their name will come off when they're not playing, so it'll be there for all of our teams to enjoy moving forward with home and visitors, so that'll be great.
And the construction will start next year sometime?
Yeah, I think probably in the spring. I think. Actually, I don't know that, but these kinds of rebuilds of a field take 9 months or so. So often the fields.
It's a major redo.
This is a
yes.
major redo of these two fields. They're grass fields and they're kitty corner from each other. So there's a regular soccer field that actually can be created in the center when it's not baseball or softball season. So it's a multi-purpose field.
So it'll get a lot of use.
It will
sure.
continue to get a lot of use. About $1 million we're going to spend to improve this field. So it'll be good.
The board also made some decisions on Benjamin Banneker Park. There was a land purchase? What was that?
So Benjamin Banneker's on the border between Falls Church and Arlington, up by East Falls Church Metro. There's a stream that runs through it, and it's been on our plan for a very long time to sort of, as houses become available, to buy them, to integrate them in the park.
To expand, to be able to expand the park.
Yeah, so there was there were 3 or 4 houses along, I think it's North 18th Street, and over the last year we've actually purchased 2 of them. So that now there's just 1 house remaining and we'll have the whole street. Both of the houses that we've purchased this year will be deconstructed and the land will return to just open parkland. And both of these are very near to where the playground is, for people who are wondering up there. But it's a beautiful little park tucked in there with that stream.
It sounds like the county just is trying to take advantage of opportunities that arise in these certain special areas.
We've actually purchased 4 or 5 lots this year, a couple for community gardens and then a couple for park expansions. And our Parks Department has sent letters to adjacent property owners just letting them know if they decide they want to sell. Since what happens in most of these places is if the house is sold, it's a tear down and a big fancy house will go up. We're not really taking anything out of the affordable inventory, but we are creating more park space for the whole community to enjoy.
And land is so precious for us.
Land is so precious, and often the houses are not in great shape, and so we're able to get it really for the price of the land, which is pretty extraordinary in these days.
A win-win for everyone.
Exactly, exactly.
The next thing I want to ask you about is the county board took some action on a new elementary school for South Arlington, and that followed on the heels of a school board action. So
Sure.
Can you explain what happened there?
Well, we've actually been on a year-long journey. People may remember that in January, we had a request from the school board to use the northwest corner of the Thomas Jefferson site, so closest to Old Glebe Road, for a new elementary school. And the board on a 4-to-1 vote said, not now. And we said, we need a way to understand that this is the best location, and we need to understand what you'll do ripple-wise in your other programming so that the people of South Arlington have a sense of, if we build here, what comes next. And the school board, to their credit, took what we asked them, and they did an incredible process with all of South Arlington. Every civic association, every PTA at all levels had an opportunity.
It was quite a robust process.
Like 50 people who met very regularly. They looked at more than 20 sites. They went through a lot of evaluation of impacts. I think what we learned is no matter where we build a new school, it takes up green space of some sort or a parking lot.
There goes our precious land discussion again.
And parking and traffic are really tricky no matter where. But the group coalesced around really Jefferson was the best location with 2 other pieces, which is Montessori will move to Henry, and there'll be a redistricting around Drew. So those are yet to come. The school board needs to work on those, but they told us they have a pretty aggressive plan to do that till May. So in the end, the board voted to approve this use going into this section of what is basically a parking lot on the west side of Jefferson with structured parking and new play space above. And we directed the manager to start the planning process as expeditiously as possible.
Now, Thomas Jefferson is, of course, an existing
middle school and community center. Right.
So does this decision have any impacts on the current uses?
It does not. And all of the park, which is to the east of the existing building, remains and doesn't really have a lot of change in it. There'll be new recreational amenities that come with the structured parking and the space on top. There will, of course, be issues during construction, as there always are.
Yes.
And we talked about that a little last night and really said to the school board and to our staff, be sure that there is a good plan, that it is well communicated, that it's safe for the children, because there's 750, 800 middle schoolers going there right now, and there are several hundred people, residents, who use TJ every day,
Right.
if not 1,000. So all of that needs to keep working during this. So the planning process will be pretty robust, but there's an expectation, I think, on the school side that they'll be back for a use permit probably toward the end of 2016, so that construction could start in 2017.
You mentioned the structured parking with some amenities on top. That sounds rather creative.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's a topography change as you head north on that site, so that new decked over parking will actually be at grade with the school, the new school, a little bit above the Jefferson School. But so they won't have to dig out too much, which is one of the reasons I think we think this is a good idea.
That sounds very good solution.
Yeah. The other thing people have raised is what happens if Jefferson needs to expand, the middle school. And when I was on the school board and subsequently, it's always sort of been anticipated that if Jefferson needs to expand, it will grow toward 2nd Street. There's a parking lot, and that's where the old preparing kitchen was when they did prepared meals that they sent out to all the schools. So there's some space there, and they could go up a little higher. So I think we feel pretty confident that this is a good plan. And the other part the school board did was really identify if they need another new building. It'll be down in 22202 in the Pentagon City, Crystal City, that section.
Identified that general area.
Right, that general area. And I think that will come back as a conversation when both boards work on their CIPs, capital improvement programs, next spring. Because there'll be a need for some master planning to make that happen.
So obviously more to come on that as well.
But a good result, I think, I do. For the 900 kids who are looking for a school, as well as sort of to settle this as a debate in the community.
And a path forward. Right.
Exactly.
We're going to take another short break and be right back. When we return, we'll talk about Arlington history.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. We're finishing up our discussion of December's county board meeting with current board chair Mary Hynes. Mary, the board just this meeting took an important step to save or preserve a really critical part of our history, the Startford site.
Right.
Could you talk about that?
Well, this is another great collaboration with our school board partners. So let me say that right up front. As you know, they're struggling with this enrollment growth, and they have made a decision that HB Woodlawn, which has been in the Startford building for 30-some years, will move to Roslyn to a new building. And Startford's going to come back online as a middle school that can serve about 1,000 kids. That means they need to put an addition on it. But Startford is, I really think it is perhaps one of the most historic buildings in Arlington.
Talk to us about what that history is.
You know, in 1959, it was the first school in the state of Virginia, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, to desegregate when 4 young black children from Halls Hill went through those doors and were able to actually go to school.
I've got goosebumps just hearing you talk about
February
that.
2nd, so Groundhog Day is the day that happened. And so it's really historic from the point of view of what happened there. But interestingly, the building itself, the architecture of the building, is also worthy of preservation. It's in what's called the International School, and if you know that building, you know we don't have any other schools that really look like it. It's one of my favorite school buildings. And it's the best example of this man's work in this Commonwealth. So the building itself is worthy of preservation.
So two
really
reasons,
important things. And we've been trying, our Historic Affairs and Landmark Review Board got a request from 4 Arlingtonians, including one of the young men who integrated the school back in '59, not a young man anymore, to really focus on preservation. We have state and federal designations on it, but they don't have the same kind of teeth in them about when change comes to the building that a local district would have. The school board had a lot of concern that if we were too prescriptive in that preservation, it would be very cumbersome, take a lot of time, and be very expensive to expand the building. And so we worked with them to come up with a path forward that will recognize the history as well as the architectural excellence of the building, and move what they call a certificate of appropriateness, the thing you need to get when you make a change to a historic building, move it from being a function of our appointed Historic Affairs and Landmark Review Board back to the county board. The county board delegated that authority. We're taking it back.
For this building?
Just for this building, in order to have an appropriate conversation board to board about what changes need to happen in a timely manner. And so the school board approved that on December 8th, and we approved a parallel motion December 15th, gave direction to the manager and the superintendent about what we need to have happen, including probably a change to our zoning ordinance to pull that authority back for this building to the county board.
It sounds like both boards are just trying to figure out how to balance
exactly.
these needs.
We have a shared goal here of respecting, and the school board has decided they're going to update their curriculum significantly so all Arlington school kids hear this story in a more directive way, and they've put aside a little bit of money for public art at the building as the renovation is done to also tell the story. So I think a really good result overall. So it'll come back to the board probably February, March with that zoning ordinance change, and then the district can follow. So a good result, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important step.
Yep. Yep.
Well, a lot certainly happened at this meeting.
Yes, it
and
did.
A lot happened in 2015 throughout the year. And we so appreciate your coming on the show and helping to explain it to the people of Arlington, the actions that you took.
Yeah.
You know, you are retiring from the board, and you've had so many years of service, not only on the school board, but also the county board as an elected official for many years. And I'd like to ask you to just reflect on that time.
Well, I will say, you know, it's pretty humbling to have the responsibility for the voters to say they think they want you to be part of making these hard decisions for our community. And I have learned so much. I have had so many incredible teachers, both from staffs of both organizations, as well as all of our incredible citizens who love the community as much as I do. And so I've been in a little bit of a reflective mode for the last couple of weeks, and I started to think about, like, if I could tell people, like, the big ideas. So what are the big things that I've learned in these 20 years of elected service and more years of activism before that? And it's down to 7. So I'll just run my 7 things and share them with you. The first one, which people have heard me say repeatedly over the years, is good ideas can come from anywhere. And if you're going to do this job and do it well, you have to be open. You have to hear them. And sometimes it's just something somebody says that causes you to see a problem from a whole new perspective and lets you into a different set of approaches to solutions. And that's really important. The next one is that curiosity can be life-changing. Those questions of why do you think that, or how were you thinking we could do it, are also so expanding in how you approach the work. And my curiosity about how things work has led me down so many paths over the 20 years that I just think curiosity is an underrated quality. Third one is that communication and education are essential, and they're not the same. And so you really need to think through both of them as you're working on tough problems. What are the things people must know, and how can I help them learn it, and then how do I share it, and how do I get feedback? Fourth one is everybody deserves access to the good things in our community, and part of our job is to figure out how to make that access work, whether you're a person who speaks English, whether you're a young person, an old person, whether you're someone who loves parks and doesn't care about these other things. Access matters, and our job is to make it equitable. it's important to take care of what you already have. People have heard me say that for 20 years too. Reinvestment in the assets we own is what sets us up for success in the future. If we can't focus only on the shiny new. That's not how you take care of a community. And this next one is a corollary. We are stewards of the public trust. We're only here for a while. We pass it on to others. Our job is to make it better if we can, whatever the it is. And finally, there's not a closed market on excellence. You know, we can be excellent in a way that gives opportunities to many, many people. And to me, that's been what it's about. It's not shiny new, it's not pretty. I really am a person who's sort of worked on the nuts and bolts, on civic engagement and capital investment, making sure the trains and the buses run on time and that there are great places for people to play, live, work, and learn. And it's been a pleasure. It's really been a pleasure.
Well, we thank you so much, not only for being on our show, but for your many years of service to this community. You have really helped Arlington be the great place that it is, and we just thank you so much. And we have a small token that we would like to present you.
Oh, these are beautiful.
We all just wanted to thank you so much. Thank you for your work for the county. Thank you for working with us on this show.
Oh, this show has been one of the real delights this year. Thank you guys, all of you, for agreeing to do it. It's been fabulous. Oh,
thank you so much.
These are so pretty. Oh, thank you.
And thank you all once again for joining us for the County Board Wrap-Up. Remember, if you have questions about how the County Board works, email them to us at arlingtontv@arlingtonva.us or tweet them with the hashtag CountyBoardWrap, and we'll try to answer them next time. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you in the new year.
For some family-friendly winter fun in Arlington, come out to the Pentagon Row Outdoor Ice Skating Rink. Northern Virginia's largest outdoor rink is the winter centerpiece of the Pentagon Row Plaza. From late October to mid-March, the rink is open 7 days a week, including holidays, and has extended hours when schools are closed. Come whenever you like and skate for 2 hours. The Pentagon Row Outdoor Ice Skating Rink also offers skating lessons for kids and adults and rink rentals for birthdays and other special events. Little ones can learn to skate with the penguins, and the whole family can warm up next to the fireplace. And after skating, enjoy a warm drink and a meal at one of Pentagon Row's delicious restaurants. It's easy to go car-free to the Pentagon Row Outdoor Ice Skating Rink. You can ride Metro Rail's yellow or blue line to the Pentagon City Metro Station, which is a short walk from the rink. Metro Bus 10A will drop you off right in front of the rink. ART 42, 87, and Metro Bus 16A, G, and J stop at the intersection of Joyce Street and Army-Navy Drive, 2 blocks from the rink. Feel like bicycling to the Pentagon Row Outdoor Ice Skating Rink? Visit bikearlington.com, click on Maps and Rides, and plan your trip. There's a Capital Bike Share station on Joyce Street in front of the Pentagon Row Plaza. For more information about the Pentagon Row Outdoor Ice Skating Rink, including hours, rates, skating lessons, and special events, visit pentagonrowskating.com. And for a complete list of real-time transit options to the Pentagon Row Outdoor Ice Skating Rink, go to carfreediet.com, click on Partners, and search for Pentagon Row Outdoor Ice Skating Rink.